Welcome back everybody to Free Film Friday. So once again I just need to reiterate that this is a bi-weekly series, so once every 2 weeks. And yeah, we've got another 3 superb films to look at. The first of which is the fantastic Bad Day at Black Rock, starring, directed more like, I apologise, from 1955, directed by John Sturges, who did The Great Escape, The Magnificent Seven, Gunfight at the OK Corral, and Joe Kidd. Stars Spencer Tracy, who did Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Judgment at Nuremberg, and lended his voice to the narration for the epic film How the West Was Won. And yeah, also stars Robert Ryan, who was in The Wild Bunch, The Dirty Dozen, and On Dangerous Ground, as well as Anne Francis, who I've only seen one film from, Forbidden Planet, but I've heard great things about the film Blackboard Jungle as well, which yeah, I'm looking forward to watching. It's also got supporting performances from Walter Brennan, Lee Marvin, and Ernest Borgnine, who we'll see in another film that we're looking at in this episode. And yeah, it was made on a mere $1.288 million, but it made $3.788 million at the box office, so a massive success for everyone involved. And yeah, it's a crime thriller that sees one-armed war veteran John J. McCready, played by Spencer Tracy, step off a train at the sleepy little town of Black Rock. Once there, he begins to unravel a web of lies, secrecy and murder. And it wraps such a fantastic plot, great performances, fantastic cinematography up in only an 81-minute long film. And yeah, quite frankly, the less you go into watching this, the better. And yeah, Spencer Tracy was actually nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars in 1955 for this. And quite frankly, I think he should have won. And yeah, being a premium collection film from HMV, it also comes with art cards, which I'll just show you off now to give you a hint of what this film's got in store for you. So there's the poster itself, and there's one of the characters. There's another one, and finally Spencer Tracy there with his briefcase, as he's yeah, one-armed. And that pretty much sums up the kind of plot. It's just him against all of these shady characters. So, yeah, fantastic film, and probably one of my favourites from the premium collection from HMV. You also get it as a DVD and a Blu-ray as well, if you were interested in that. But yeah, fantastic, fantastic film, and yeah, highly recommend it. You can't get it on any streaming services at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, it's well worth tracking down if you have the time and the means to do so. So the second film we're looking at is probably even more of a classic in terms of mainstream audiences, and that is 1972's The Poseidon Adventure, directed by Ronald Neame, who I've only seen one other film from, which is Meteor, which is a bit of an underwhelming disaster film in comparison to this. But he also directed Hopscotch, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, and The Odessa File, which I've heard good things from all 3 of them. And yeah, it's got quite a good cast on this. Stars Gene Hackman, who's in pretty much everything, from The French Connection to The Royal Tenenbaums, Unforgiven, The Conversation, Young Frankenstein, The Birdcage, Mississippi Burning, The Quick and the Dead, Crimson Tide, and Reds, and that's just the few that I adore from him. Also stars Ernest Borgnine, who was also in Bad Day at Black Rock, but also Escape from New York, The Wild Bunch, and The Flight of the Phoenix, and Red Buttons, who was mainly known as a stand-up comedian, but he was also in When Time Ran Out, which is a really rather underwhelming disaster film, and it's the only other film I've seen from him. But he was also in They Shoot Horses, Don't They, and The Longest Day, which again are 2 acclaimed films. And yeah, if you think Bad Day at Black Rock made a ton of money, this was made on a budget of $4.7 million, but made $125 million at the box office, becoming one of the biggest films of the decade. I think the only other disaster film that beat this was Towering Inferno. And yeah, this is a disaster film about a group of passengers who struggle to survive and escape when their ocean liner capsizes after it gets hit by a wave triggered by an earthquake. Yeah, it's set during New Year's Eve / New Year's Day, because the wave hits just after midnight. And it's one of my favourite films to watch during that period of the year, because yeah, it's nice to time it with the striking of midnight, and yeah, ring in the new year with a disaster film. And yeah, it's 117 minutes long, and was produced by the so-called master of disaster Irwin Allen, as he was also involved in the superbly great film Towering Inferno, which was also hugely successful. But sadly, he had 3 film flops after that, and yeah, then his career was pretty much said and done, which again, is a bit of a shame. Yeah, he also had a hand in When Time Ran Out, which, like I said, was pretty bad. But yeah, the score was done by John Williams, and this is available on Disney Plus in the UK. And yeah, it's highly recommended seeking it out. Yes, it's not got the massive special effects of, say, the remake from 2006, was it? Directed by Wolfgang Peterson, and yeah, but I like it for its simplicity, quite frankly. As yeah, it's nice to see all the upside down sets when the ship is upside down. It's got a fantastic stunt when the ship does roll over. The score is great, the cast is great, because you've also not only got the three that I've mentioned, but you've also got Roddy McDowall, and you've got Shelley Winters, and you've also got Leslie Nielsen as playing the captain. So yeah, great film, and yeah, high watermark to beat, quite frankly, for other disaster films as far as I'm concerned, because yeah, it gets everything right, from the stunts to the production to the sets to the cast, score, and its themes as well. And finally, jumping quite a fair bit ahead, we had only 17 or so years between Bad Day at Blackrock and Poseidon Adventure, but finally we're looking at 2019's film I See You, which is directed by Adam Randall, who I've not seen anything from before, and I don't think he's really directed anything else of note. But it does star Helen Hunt, who was in Castaway, As Good As It Gets, and Twister. I've only seen Castaway and Twister. I've heard good things from As Good As It Gets. So also stars John Tenney, who's a bit more of a small supporting role actor, as he's had roles in Green Lantern, Tombstone, and Beverly Hills Cop 3. Can't say I remember him any of those. But it also stars Owen Teague, who played the slightly older bully in It and It Chapter 2, and sort of a similar size role in the really rather superb The Empty Man. But sadly, because it wasn't released in the US, its budget of $5 million was far from recouped, as it only made $1.1 million worldwide. So, bit of a shame, because it's a really rather superb film, and it's a crime horror that concerns a 12-year-old boy that goes missing. Lead investigator Greg Harper, played by John Tenney, struggles to balance the pressure of the investigation and troubles with his wife Jackie, played by Helen Hunt. Facing a recent affair, great strain is put on the family that slowly gnaws away at Jackie's grip on reality. But after a malicious presence manifests itself in their home and puts their son Connor, played by Owen Teague, in mortal danger, the cold hard truth about evil in the Harper household is finally uncovered. And I know that sounds a little bit cliched, but in all honesty, this film flips that kind of premise right up on its head. It's really does do all sorts of new things with that kind of premise, quite frankly. And it's only 96 minutes long, so it's in and out in no time at all, but it does a great deal within that time, and it's available on Netflix in the UK. So yeah, again, if you can get out there to see it, then I highly recommend it. But like I said, it's like I showed, it's also on Arrow Video, so you can get it on their channel on Amazon Prime, on Amazon Video. You just have to pay a monthly subscription for that, or it's easily available for them to buy. Comes with a nice slipcase. Not sure if this is available on every version now, because it might well have been a limited version. But yeah, it's a really nicely done film. It looks pretty good as well. You get a nice booklet with it, with this version, and then the Blu-ray itself. And yeah, fantastic, quite frankly. Really didn't expect much from it, because a lot of new horror films either disappoint me or are genuinely underwhelming, but this is one of those ones that not only is great to watch, but also flips the whole, cliched haunted house horror film up on its head, and it does it really, really nicely as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the 3 films from a couple of weeks ago, if you got the chance to see them. But again, I do recommend those 3 that I recommended a couple of weeks ago, and I highly recommend the 3 that I've mentioned today. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.